So there's something I wanted to say, but I have not thought that I should say it because I don't, and I don't even know if people are ready to hear it because people will just push back. But listening to all the vaccine stuff for so long, okay? And it being so obvious that it's all about no Trump, as if he was the only person, like it was never like nobody ever wanted to go after Pharma or anybody like that. So you could tell it was very designed to take Trump down. And what I kept thinking to myself is, well, looking at the history of science, it's obvious that they've done some unethical things. However, the whole suddenly thing never made sense to me because they want research. So that was a red flag. Besides that, this is the part people will have issue with is that you if God were in front of you and you said, no, this is a bad man. He put the most funding towards ending trafficking, um abided by the Constitution, talked about elevate getting back to the Bible, did all good deeds, but he told me that he was the father of the vaccine. He told me that the vaccine was good. What do you think God would say to you? You think God would say, damn him? No, because regardless of what the vaccine is, God would say, and where's your responsibility in it? Were blindly willing to believe what you were told? And then people would argue, well, I didn't know, that was before I was awake. Okay, it still doesn't make it his fault. So my point is that sometimes things play out because that's the way God wants them to. Um, and what this world hopes is that people aren't they're not looking through a lens of faith um, enough to see that ultimately your true healing comes from God, whether you took it or you didn't, and that if you did take it, maybe it was a wake up call. Not the any, but God protects the elect. I said God protects the elect. I've also said before that people aren't willing to look at themselves or make any kind of change unless they're brought to their knees. And that's not because God is a horrible God. It's not. It's because it's our condition, the nature of our condition. We will not even think of changing. We have to be brought to our knees in order to even consider it. Well, the vaccine maybe did that for some people. I don't know. I'm not even saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that given the history of all of them and us, I think that the true message would be, no, if you said to God, no, it's all this man's fault, God would say, no, his deeds show this, and that. That was your fault. You chose to just follow whatever somebody said. And you can say, well, then he lied. Well, first of all, you don't know that he lied, but ultimately it still falls on you. And you can say, well, that's not right. No, it's about us taking responsibility for our sovereign selves. So sometimes you have to use people. And like I said, you have to look at it through a faith lens. That's really how we're supposed to see this life, is through a faith lens, not just when we go to church on Sunday. Oh, I'm just thinking about God for the next hour. No, God didn't want it that way. You were supposed to look at all of it through a faith lens, the way Jesus did. So ultimately, you can go off on Trump all you want if you took it, but it's still your decision. You were given free will. Free will is the key here. Trump was never mandating it on anybody. And there was no way around it. If he wouldn't have pushed it, then we would have been in lockdown forever. If he would have tried to tell people, there wasn't enough people that were willing to see it. It would have caused chaos. It would have put us back. It would have done of no good. And people say, well, when he got out of office, he could have told us the truth. What do you think that would do to the people that took it? It's kind of cruel. And ultimately, God is the one that saves. So regardless if somebody took it or not, God performs miracles, and God will protect the elect. So it would be cruel to do that. It really would. I personally don't believe he's ever been talking about the vaccine people think he's talking about. And I've said before, there's a really simple reason why I believe that to be true, is because Trump doesn't tend to back things that are loser things, that are failures. He doesn't tend to back um, failing things. He tends to back things that he expects to be successful. And that wasn't going to be successful, which is why he mentioned the HCQ and stuff like that. Yeah. And if you remember any of his tweets, he was never totally against vaccines. He was against them being given all at once to children because he said it caused that A word. Did many tweets about that. But then you look into the history of everything as far as experimentation and you realize, no, it's really us. We've just gone along because all we had to be told was that these are experts and we should trust them. So at the end of the day, God isn't going to blame Trump. Trump isn't the Antichrist, no matter how much you want to call him that. He's not. You were so deceived you don't realize that beast rose. Yeah, like 8 years ago. But were several beasts. You just have been believing whatever pastors and priests tell you about Revelations. But it was never going to play out the way they tell you because that wicked one controls this world. So you were supposed to understand it yourself. God wouldn't condemn Trump for that. It's a free will choice. God would actually condemn you for trying to blame him for a choice you made. If you chose to just believe blindly, then that's on you. That's not on anybody else. What is the one thing that's been learned through all this? That you shouldn't just blindly believe. You should look into things unless you have faith in what somebody's telling you. I think that's the lesson God wanted people to really see, is that are you going to realize that I told you you were living in a wicked world, which means you shouldn't trust what people say. But when I send you a righteous leader that's doing righteous deeds and you see that and you see him being persecuted, then your answer, if you're a true believing Bible Christian, isn't to say, oh, he's the bad guy. No, it's to say, look at what they're doing to him. He's doing good things and they're calling him evil. They're calling him an antichrist. They're calling him a beast. Boy, who else did they do that to? Oh, they did that to Jesus. Yeah, they even do this today, saying how Jesus is truly the Antichrist. I mean, if that's not blasphemous, oh wow. It's all about, you were given free will. You are expected to take responsibility for yourself. So if you want to blame Trump like all these supposed Christians do, you're not looking at yourself. But you can't tell them. But it doesn't matter anyway. I think most of them are not real Christians. I think they've just been, they're your agency types, and they're designed to keep the delay going. The wicked is on borrowed time. They always have been on borrowed time. And sometimes they figure, oh, we got all the time in the world. Look at how stupefied the people are. They don't wake up. They don't get it. But everybody woke up, and what has happened? Oh, Hollywood's panicked. A bunch of politicians and media have panicked. Yeah. A bunch of agencies have panicked. The communists are shown for who they are. The World Health Organization, United Nations, all shown for the wicked they are. So that borrowed time is running out really fast. So think of it like this: Willy Wonka. Charlie didn't get the whole chocolate factory or the lifetime of chocolate until he got honest. If you remember Gene Wilder, look at him as he was the god of the chocolate world, right? And every single person that got a golden ticket came in there and broke the rules. So he wasn't going to give his factory over to any of them because they couldn't be honest, not with themselves or him. And in the end, Charlie was honest, but the grandfather wanted to blame Wonka, even though ultimately they broke the rules. You have to recognize that free will means you're responsible for the choices you make.